happen.
Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Same old sounds kind of boring and maybe non-complimentary, but I mean it in the highest compliment. They're just good. They're always good.
Of course, when your starting quarterbacks wasn't available, it's concerning, and he's not practicing on the first day of prep. But I view it as a day-to-day situation right now. We'll see where that goes, and I know he's working at it.
They got a lot of explosive players, some experience too. You know, we're seeing some wide receivers that we saw last year, and some really good running backs. So definitely some explosive playmakers.
Everybody's seen Quinn Ewers from the beginning of everything with the win at Alabama, but the quarterback on the other side, Dylan Gabriel, has been just as impressive. He's 5th in the country in yards per dropback, 4th in total QBR.
High fly ball, deep right field, and that one sails on out of here. Look, home run Corbin Carroll. It's a one-run ball game. It's 3-2.
We've all felt it and all said it, and just bought into the fact that like this is why we do it, right? Like this is why we play this game, and to be able to come through for the team and game like this, it's an incredible feeling.
Runners lead off second and third. The infield end, the pitch. Fastball lined into center field, a base hit. JT scores, rounding third, heading for home is Castellanos. The throw to the plate is in time.
That's what this team's all about, man. We're a family in here, and it's 40,000 people out there, plus 26 instead of last year as well. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. And like I said, we just got to keep this going.
And the pitch. Swing a high drive, deep left field, backing up Varsho on a run, turning. It's gone! Home run! Royce Lewis will touch them all. A 2-run shot to light them up here in Minneapolis.
And welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome in to the Wednesday show. Steve Webster along with Aaron Clark. He's here today. Mike Corson in studio. And Mike Hesher, as we get ready for the program today. On the show, we'll have the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson, coming off a bye week. I wonder if he announced a game or something on just so he wouldn't get rusty. You have that bye week. What do? You do your rest, or you keep practicing. You take a few days off.
He's a seasoned veteran. I imagine he got in a little bit of a stretch for the vocal cords and keep them loose.
Yeah. You take those time off that when you can. And they play Oklahoma State on Friday night, so Wyatt's going to be on the show. Voice of the Tigers, Gerard Walbrock, decided to come back after sitting out the last 2 weeks due to Royals baseball. Poor Gerd got bumped.
Should have a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
the Tigers been rolling a little bit.
Yeah, we did. 70 points in their last game. And Mike Corson today going on the prowl.
Shelley Duvall.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Thought you had it. I was cueing you.
Okay, all right. That's who's on the show today. All right, we're going to get to our sounds the past 24 hours, too. Couple of things. One thing, when you host this show or you're on there are all kinds of distractions right before the program starts, right? I mean, do you think if the astronauts are getting ready to go up in, SpaceX, that at the last minute, the
operations manager
gets up and kind of goes over and gets up out of his seat and then gets back in before the
Don't take off yet. Don't launch the engines. I got to get up. I got to make sure our camera's in the right position.
There's people yelling at each other. I mean, it's
absolute chaos right before the moment of launch.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't been here very long, but I was under the impression this was your dojo before I came. But now that we've started this back up, it's just in and out. So it's more fun to come in and out right before the show and see what kind of trouble we can make.
I apologize to those watching on YouTube. I did have my coffee cup that has not been washed since
1982.
It was like that. It was
the Reagan presidency, right?
It was in front of the camera. The other thing is, I am just all the young kids and young people that come into this program. Hesh, you've mentioned this too, about when they come in and you hear them talk, and you feel better about the future, right? Don't worry about it. They've got it. We've got some bright kids. But then when I come in this morning, and Aaron Clark, one of the most talented people there is. I mean, the guy's just whatever. He'll attack anything. Comes up and asks me where Kinsley is. Now,
Wait, the volleyball player or the city?
Kinsley.
Oh.
Kinsley,
Edwards
Kansas.
County.
Calling it a city is a bit of a stretch.
Well,
Let's
you
not.
go through it every time you traveled in high school. You went
To be
through
fair,
it all
I
the
was-
way to you go to Dodge City. You go to Liberal. You would go
You're
and
asleep
you
at
were
that
wondering
time.
where
You're
Kinsley
sleeping
was.
at that time already. It's the almost the perfect distance away to be in the middle of a pregame nap.
And aren't they famous for being halfway between New York and San Francisco?
Right.
Yeah, that's what the sign says.
Have you seen this?
I had no idea. You could have fooled me. All I know, they playing some 8-man football, the bustling metropolis that is Kinsley. Didn't
They're
quite know where
undefeated.
they
They're
were.
5-0.
Undefeated,
You were
5-0.
probably one. Your question was, I could kind of see. Well, why are we putting Kinsley on the area football?
See, I
schedule?
was more double checking, making sure that you wanted me to bring it up in the sportscast, because some of them on there we don't bring up. Some of the ones that get a little further away we cover in Sports Day, but not on the Sportscast. And so I was trying to make sure, but it was. I was thinking Victoria, which is just not even in the same ballpark.
Same league.
Same league, but not in the same ballpark this week anyway.
You're one of the brightest of the best.
Except
But
when it
just
comes to
sit down and eat a
geography.
bowl of popcorn and look and just get your Rand McNally out.
Do they have a zoo maybe he can visit in Kinsley?
All right. You're the best, dude.
I just got to find more zoos to visit. He's right. Got to become my calling card, one per season. Liberal, watch out.
Sounds the past 24 hours or so, Chris Bamberger, head coach of the Lake and Bronx. I don't know if that's a knock to say that, I don't want to knock them or anything, but, because I want to make it sound bad, but they're just good. Describing the Hoiston Cardinals, who they'll have in Lakin on Friday night. Lakin 4-1, really the only threat to Hoisington in that district. And, yeah.
I think if you look at Class 3A or now 2A, for years, Western Kansas, it's been Hoisington, maybe Phillipsburg. You have to go east to get to Silver Lakes, the Rossvilles. But out west, Hoisington has been the team to beat for years. So I get why he says that.
Yep,
He has
absolutely.
a heck of a record at Ness City as an 8-man coach.
And like you said, just Hoisington, kind of the same thing they've been doing. Obviously, this year they're mixing in the pass a little bit, but still 3-man front on defense, playing very disciplined defensive ball and a healthy dose of run. It's Cardinal football, and they're executing it very well right now. Like you said, they're just year in, year out good, doing what Hoisington does best.
Okay, so that'll be coming up on Friday. Larned, they're at home against Southwestern Heights. Larned has a chance to go to 5-1, and they would be 5-1 heading into their game with Hoisington a week from Friday. Grape and Panthers, of course, they are at Liberal. We'll get more on the Panthers Liberal matchup when Aaron Beck is in tomorrow on the show. All right, let's see. Anything else out there? Let's see. Ellenwood needs to get back on track. They've got a chance. They play Inman on the road. Inman's 1-4. Russell 3-2 at Ellsworth, 5-0. I'm kind of looking forward to this Ellsworth Southeast of Saline game. But after Southeast beat Clay Center last week, who was ranked third in 3A, highly regarded team, I don't know if that's. We'll see. Ellsworth should be able to beat Russell. They've got everybody back from last year. They've got an excellent quarterback. They're well coached. But I just wonder how good a game that's going to be, Ellsworth and Southeast.
And I think Ellsworth can still stand a chance. Obviously, like you mentioned, El Saline knocking off a quality number 3 team there. But you've been high on Ellsworth since the jamboree we had.
Yeah.
You've talked about how their offense is clicking. It seems like we've been seeing that some this season. And like you said, should be a pretty interesting matchup there.
By the way, Kinsley is on the road. They're 5-0. They play at South Central, which is located in no.
South Central Kansas, obviously. Come on.
That'd be Coldwater.
You know where Coldwater is?
Not even a little South Central there, obviously.
Do you know their mascot?
Don't believe so. Don't believe I do.
I don't know. If I always get it wrong. It's either the Timber Wolf or the Thunder Wolf.
I knew it was a wolf. I guess I thought it was a timber, but now that you say thunder, maybe they went unique on us.
We're going to get in. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take 2 or 3 days off, Aaron, and we're just going to get in a car and You're going to have your Rand McNair. We're just going to drive through some of these beautiful country. I'll take you from Coldwater to Medicine Lodge, and you'll think you're in Arizona. And I'll take you to Sun City, Lake City.
We'll do sports day in the off season, sports day on the road. Just a couple of guys cruising the state looking for stories.
There you go. Okay, Lance Leipold on the concern for quarterback Jalen Daniels did not practice yesterday. They take on UCF on Saturday, 3:00 kickoff. And Lance Leipold doesn't usually say too much about his quarterbacks anyway, but obviously a big concern. Jason Bean's a good quarterback. He didn't play very well against Texas, but I think that may be the case. A lot of teams will play that way against, I think, the best Texas team they've had maybe since they won the national championship.
Can definitely make a case for it. And trying to come in against, you've heard about it all year. Texas's defense seems legit, and it's not only one person. Their defensive line can get after you from so many different ways. And he was trying to make plays. I think with a full week, knowing that he's going to be the guy a little bit, he's going to have a better idea. He might be starting against UCF on Saturday. He might be a little more composed and a little more ready than he was against Texas. But I'd like to see what Bean can do against the UCF defense that should not be near the challenge that Texas is.
And here's where you're also separating the wheat from the, was it chaff? 5-0, so they almost 19, 15, 16 it was, back-to-back 5-0 starts. Saw what they did last year. At some point, you've got to start beating the conference schools that are the bigger schools, and don't lean on those cupcakes early in the year.
Well, and they may, I mean, if you want him to get healthy and you're working on a bad back and you're having that in another week, I mean, this is a big game for KU, obviously, but I think they can get it done with being a quarterback. And like you said, the extra week of prep when you're getting all the reps, that's going to make a big difference. Austin Moore, Kansas State linebacker, facing an Oklahoma State team that lost a lot of weapons. And we'll talk to Wyatt Thompson about the Cowboys.
I'm excited.
And they lost, one of the best players to Oklahoma on a transfer portal. Yeah. All right, so Kansas State at Oklahoma Friday night on ESPN, 6:30. Why do they play those games on Friday? It's a high school night. UCF at Kansas, Texas Tech at Baylor, TCU at Iowa State. Oh, the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma and Texas at the aging, decrepit Cotton Bowl on Saturday. Kickoff at 11. And
that game's lost some luster over the years namely because of Texas, but this year I'm trying not to be a fan of either side, but I actually want to watch that.
I don't know the last time it was this highly ranked between the two teams with number 3 and number 12 coming in. It's been years since we've had a top 15 Red River rivalry.
I believe Matt Coughlin from ESPN, or Tom Coughlin, is he working for ESPN now, talking about that matchup, and Brock Ewers, the quarterback for Texas. All right, the call on KMVP, Corbin Carroll, also just got done with the season with the Iuka Hustlers, hit a home run to right for Arizona, scoring Geraldo Perdomo in the top of the third, and that got him going against Corbin Burns because they'd been pretty much blank. That made it 3-2. They come back and beat the Brewers 6-3. Corbin Carroll say that's really cool. That's why you play the game. Let's see, the Phillies. Bryson Stott singles to center before scoring JT Realmuto in the top of the fourth inning, and Bryce Harper talking about he was thrown out the plate on that play, by the way, too, even though he threw his helmet off trying to run faster, on the atmosphere when the Phillies get it rolling. And the Minnesota Twins, Jeff Passan saying, watch the Twins. And then from the echoes of the studio came, they haven't won a game in a long time.
18 straight, 2004, but they came through.
Think they'll get it today?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Tampa Bay, the lowest playoff attendance not affecting by COVID since like 1919.
Did you see that game? There were nobody there. It was unbelievable.
That's too bad.
Great, like
they're hosting a playoff game and they can't even get fans to the stadium.
Terrible. Is it if you build? It's one of those. Okay, then the Marlins, they built a new stadium, but their attendance still stinks. So if you build a new, you've got to put a dome on it. It rains all the time in Tampa. You put an outdoor stadium. Does it change the Rays' attendance?
I think it might be a Florida thing. If you got the two, they even went back to the retro jerseys. They had the colored Devil Rays jerseys on. Who doesn't want to see that? The Trop.
Several people in Florida don't want to see that, actually. But I agree with Mike, though. I think it's Florida for some reason.
Yeah, okay. The call on ESPN Radio, Royce Lewis hit a 2-run homer. That's actually on KVGB2. As we'll have game 2 of that series today, so go Twins. Also tonight, Philadelphia and Miami. Philadelphia will try to move on into the divisional round. Okay, there's your sounds the past 24 hours or so. Sports headlines. Great Bend Lady Panthers in action last night, Mike Corson.
Yeah, going 18-1, and you never know with those Wichita area schools. Sometimes their records are pretty deceptive, and 6 pretty competitive sets, but Lady Panthers fall twice.
So now 18-3.
Correct.
On the
and
season.
I'm sure we'll talk about it here shortly, but really big games tomorrow with top-ranked Hillsboro and I think Emporia's number 9 in Class 5A.
All right. New districts are out for the 24-25 seasons for football. Obviously, this is going to be for 1, 2, and 3A. And, of course, if somebody moves from 5A West to 5A East, I'll just let you know Great Bend has stayed in 5A West along with Hayes, okay? 2A, Hoisington stays out west, which, just there you go. There's your ticket to the to the playoffs every year, as they will be joined in Class 2A in District 6 or District 8 with Cimarron, Southwestern Heights, Larned, and Lakin. That didn't change at all. District 7, Russell is going to be with Beloit, Minneapolis, Norton, Phillipsburg. I don't think that changed at all. And Ellsworth, Southeast Saline, Halstead, Hillsboro, and Lyons. That's actually exactly the same in 2A. 1A, Ellenwood, not much change there. Conway Springs, Hutch, Trinity, Medicine Lodge. South Sumner moves into this, a former Caldwell South Haven combination. And Sterling will be in that district. TMP goes to 1A. They'll be in District 8. 8-man 1, Kinsley. They're going to be in, okay, tell me where these towns are. Elkhart.
Way southwest.
Meade.
Meade, a little north of that.
Turn there to go to Liberal. South of Dodge.
South Gray.
South of Gray.
Gray County.
It's in Montezuma.
Montezuma, yes.
Yeah, Montezuma. Where's that at?
That's by Dodge City. That's southwest of Dodge City. I know that one. Yeah, there you go.
Spearville and Sublette. La Crosse will go to District 7 with Ellis, who's playing 8-man next year. Wichita County, Ness City, Quinter, Trigo. And let's see, Division 2 of 8-man, Jetmore, or Hodgman County, Maxville, Stafford, St. John, and Victoria. So Victoria's been kind of going easterly direction. They will head back to the southwest this year. Chase is in District 2 of 6-man along with Otis Bison. That's weird to see. And Pawnee Heights in District 3 of 6-man.
We do not see a whole lot of teams going up. We've got everybody moving down. Ellis, 8-man, that's crazy. TMP is a 1A. We've got the 8-mans going down to 6. It's frightening how.
It's frightening now. You see county seats that are playing 8-man too. Yeah.
You see county seats that people just don't even know where they are. It's crazy.
Well, Kinsley's a county seat.
Of what county? Question.
What
I
county?
told you earlier.
Aaron?
Gray. I don't know.
Be Edwards.
I knew you mentioned Gray County just a little bit ago. So maybe it's that one.
I would say if you've never been to Kinley, the Igloo, fantastic arena.
It's a dog glue.
Because of their coyotes?
Well, no, it looks like a dog glue.
Like the one they have in the backyard.
Yeah. No, it's nice inside. Yeah, it really
Gorgeous.
is. Just like Dodge City Community. The dog glues have come all over. Fowler had one, and then, well, I don't know what they're using Fowler's for anymore because
Gold bugs.
a cool name in itself. Where's Fowler at?
South. Let's go south. Hard south.
Wyatt Thompson, voice of Kansas State Wildcats, coming up next year on Sports Day. And brought to you in part by American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department, your certified Cenex lubricant dealer in Great Bend, and the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. Now, Wyatt Thompson next on Sports Day.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Attention high school seniors, the time to think about that next step is right now. Get everything set up in a few hours at Barton Community College's Senior Day on November 8th. At Barton, you can take classes, transfer to a university, or enroll in a technical program. Did we mention we have $6,000 in scholarships up for grabs? Sign up online now through November 1st at seniorday.bartoncccc.edu to attend.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sports Day rolling on. Favorite time of the year. Fall. Well, anytime I get to talk to Wyatt Thompson, it's a good deal. Wyatt Thompson, voice the Kansas State Wildcats, joining us right now. Wyatt, thanks for joining us on the show today.
You're so kind, my friend. Good to talk to you, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. So what, you're coming off a bye week as an announcer. What's that mean? You know, you probably just lay around, don't do anything all week then, right?
Yeah. You know what I did? I was a football couch potato from Friday night through Sunday morning, and then drove to Mulvane Sunday afternoon and emceed the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame banquet Sunday night there at Kansas Star. I had a great weekend, man. It was so fun.
So you've kind of become the MC guy. And is that something that you kind of grew into? Because at Kansas State, then you're always doing the catbacker things. Was the MC deal always kind of in your wheelhouse, Wyatt?
No, not necessarily. When I first started in the business, one of my instructors said, you know, you ad-lib pretty well, but you can't read at all. We need to work on that. I don't think I was a very good MC either, but at the end of the day, you know, opportunities lead to, you know, a little more confidence, and I have done it a lot lately. I don't want to mislead any of your listening audience either, because in that Kansas Sports Hall of Fame thing, they kind of rotate between Bob Davis, now / Brian Haney at Kansas, and my old buddy Mike Kennedy at Wichita State, and myself hosting that. So I don't know that I do it any better, whatever, but I'm thrilled to be asked every time.
Well, okay, I'm glad you enjoyed your bye week. I'm sure the football team did. We'll talk a little bit about them. Obviously, here's you head to Oklahoma State on Friday. I don't know how you are, but maybe it's when like the Big 8 became the Big 12, and now I'm looking at the Big 12, and I'm conference standings. Cincinnati's and Houston's and BYU in this, and it's hard for me to wrap around right now with this expanded conference. It's going to change even more next year.
I don't think you're any more different than any of the rest of us, if I'm being honest. It has taken a little bit of time to get used to, even now for me, and I do this every day.
Yeah.
You know, when we were preparing 2 weeks ago for UCF, I'll give you an example. Since their program started in 1979, Webby, they've been Division III, Division II, Division I FCS, Division I FBS. I don't know that you can do any more than that, can you? It's hard to keep track of all of that stuff. It's crazy.
So what do you think about okay, so we have Texas, Oklahoma this weekend, and then West Virginia's all of a sudden come out of nowhere, and they're off to a 4-1 start, surprising everybody. But what about the makeup of this league so far? Some impressions, what you've seen on the football side of this Big 12, and then, of course, it's going to change again next year.
Well, it is going to change next year, and I'm excited about that too. But as for this year, I think when you go back to Big 12 Media Days in July, everybody picked Texas to win the league. And most of the reaction that I heard was, well, that's pretty typical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why are they picking Texas when K-State has 15 starters back and they're the defending champions? Or TCU, who played in the national title game? But now here we are getting ready to play this weekend in Week 6. I guess the voters look pretty smart I think Texas is better, don't you? I just see that. I think they are really gifted, but they're always that. Where are they different? I'll tell you where. At the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They trumped KU around last week pretty good. I mean, they had over 600 yards in offense, beat a pretty darn good football team like 40-14. So I think you start there. But I think after that, I think you could throw several teams in there, but I don't see any reason why K-State can't be right there. And I'm not saying they can't win at Texas either, but I do think Texas has been the top team to this point. But, Oklahoma's better. Kansas is better. Tech's 2 and 3, but I think they are capable. It's just a very interesting league right now.
Okay, now Kansas State so far. I mean, what can you say about their 3-1 start? Other than they're not beating people 50-0 every game.
Well, I think we've seen a lot of good things from a veteran team that's pretty well coached, but there have been some bumps. Give you an example. I think you could say that K-State offensively has been pretty good so far in the 3-1 start. They're averaging almost 40 points a game. Yeah. They're rushing for almost 200 yards a game, but they haven't done it as consistently as I think they wanted to. That doesn't mean they can't, because I think Christian Duffy coming back and probably starting in the Friday night game kind of gets them healthy across that front for the first time this year. They missed the shock plays from Deuce Vaughn, but we all knew that was going to be the case, right? And yet they've kind of made up for that in other areas with DJ Giddens and Phillip Brooks has been around forever, but RJ and Jaden Jackson, Keegan Johnson, those guys have been okay, not great, but okay. But I just think Will Howard's a winner, man. And when you have a veteran quarterback who knows what he's looking at and can adjust, yeah, he's made 3 or 4 or 5 bad throws, but generally speaking, he's been pretty consistent, no doubt. And then defensively, they've been dominant at the line of scrimmage against the run, but they've given up too much in the pass game. If they can clean that up and be just a tick more consistent running the football, I think they're going to be a handful. I guess in a nutshell, that's kind of it.
Yeah, and your one loss is at Missouri, and Missouri's in the top 25. How good is Missouri? Well, I guess we're going to find out this weekend. I mean, that's going to be a huge Saturday in Columbia. But I guess we'll find out more this weekend, and I think it'd make K-State fans feel a lot better if Missouri went out there and beat LSU.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I said going into the Missouri game, they're better than everybody perceives them to be, and where at? Quarterback and at the line of scrimmage. And I think that played out in our game. Brady Cook was really good. Their defensive front caused some issues for K-State. There's no doubt about that. And K-State had some missed opportunities. That's the one game they've dropped, and in a nutshell, that's probably why. If they played 10 times, would it be 5-5? I think it'd be more like 6-4 K-State, but that's just maybe my bias, too. But I think Missouri is pretty good.
Oklahoma State. They're 2-2 right now. And to hear people talk about Oklahoma State, it's the worst Oklahoma State team that they've had in years. So what do you think?
Well, I don't think they're as bad as the perception. Are they as good as they've been? Maybe not. But let's analyze that here real briefly, because I think when you lose some of the cats that they lost from last year, it's going to be impactful to a degree. I mean, I did an interview earlier today with a guy, and I said, think about other teams that would lose Trace Ford to Oklahoma, Mason Cobb defensively to USC, and Jabbar Muhammad to Washington. You're going to feel that. Plus, they have a new defensive coordinator who I think in time is going to be good, but he's in his first year. He's still kind of figuring out personnel and what he wants to do. So there's that. And then, now I think after 3 games of playing 3 quarterbacks, they've gone to Alan Bowman, and I think that will help them. I don't think they miss Dominic Richardson and John Paul Richardson and Stephon Johnson, so they've had to replace some dudes too. But I think they're capable offensively. I don't want to make them out to be better than they are. They've been okay. They've been inconsistent. But I think they are more capable than most people know.
What do you think about the Friday night game? You going to be giving high school scores during the broadcast?
Well, I'll leave that to Matt Walters.
Okay.
He's a lot better at that than I am. But it is going to be a little bit of a different feel, isn't it? I mean, we've played a couple of other Friday games. I had gotten reminded about this on a local show here in Manhattan on Monday. We played not that many years ago on a Friday night, I think a couple of different times, one out in California against Stanford. I don't know if you remember that,
that was,
or not, but that one, that was an interesting game. So it'll be, generally speaking, I don't like covering up the high school teams. I think they deserve their night, and TV has enough of the other days of the week. Is that fair?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. So, Kansas State, Oklahoma State coming up. College football is an interesting look right now. We see, you see Rule take over at Nebraska and saying, okay, we're going to build it the old Nebraska way, and we're going to bring in, we're going to keep these guys, we're going to build them. And then you see Deion Sanders at Colorado blows out his entire team and brings in everyone. It is amazing. You see the different coaches. Alabama used to have All-American stacked on All-American on their depth chart, and how do these the traditional guys that like to build the old way juggle the fact that the transfer portal can change things so much? I think there's a lot of coaches struggling with this right now and figuring what they want to be.
You said so much there, and I tip my cap to you, buddy, because that's a subject that I don't think gets talked about enough. I think a couple of examples. You gave two good ones, but I'll throw Dabo Swinney in there. He hasn't messed around with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Does that mean he will down the road just because they're 3-2 or whatever? I don't think so. But I think it does show you that things are changing, and there's more than one way to do it. I don't know that everybody can do it quite like Deion just because of his, what I'll describe, electric personality and his ability to recruit. The one thing that does get overlooked there is how good his staff was.
Yes.
Nobody's talking about that. You don't play like that without having good coaching. Yeah, he's the guy on the sideline that's doing his deal, and, they're coming out there with all those rap stars and all that stuff. That doesn't have anything to do with the guys that are playing between the white lines, right?
Yeah.
His don't. But he's going to, if he stays there and they get into this league next year and he continues to recruit like I think he probably will, look out.
Yeah, it's just
it won't take him long.
No, it won't. And you mentioned
it
that
will not.
He has a heck of a coaching staff.
Yeah, very.
Yeah,
hugely good.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. So before I let you go here, it is kind of exciting as a play-by-play guy because you've been all over. I just said, what's it like to go to New York? Well, I've been there 7 times. But but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The other schools that are coming in. I mean, you go to BYU, you got to go to Cincinnati. Go down to Houston, check that out. And then you got Arizona State, and then you got Arizona and the new places. It's new stuff for the play-by-play guy too.
No doubt. And of course, I've been to BYU from my CSU days, and it's a wonderful place to go. Just a beautiful setting for football. The Marriott Center there in basketball is big, and they have great crowds there. Houston in basketball, I'm just telling you now, Webby, they are going to compete for a title in their first year. They are way good, really good. So, yeah, it's a blast. I jokingly say all the time that I've been the luckiest guy in the world getting to do what I do, all the bowl games, and NCAA tournament games, and all the travel. I'm telling you, New York City was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the day that I walked in there and saw Marquise Noel sitting in what was Carmelo Anthony's locker, that was a pretty good day. I kind of live for those.
Yeah, I can see that too. And then, of course, November's on the horizon. I don't want to, give you any fretting. The November football, basketball going on at the same time swing is coming up. So enjoy this first part of October, okay?
Well, I will because you're right. We play an exhibition game on the 1st. We play in Austin in football on the 4th, and then Stan and I will fly to Vegas on Sunday and do a basketball game in Vegas at the T-Mobile Center against USC to open the new season. So, bang, bang, here we go.
It's rough, Wyatt. Doggone it. You just hang in there, man, okay? I don't.
Dude, I'm the luckiest guy ever. You know that. I'm not joking when I say that. Yeah. You know that as well as anybody.
You betcha. Wyatt Thompson, thanks for joining us. We'll check in with you here soon.
I'd love that. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Wyatt Thompson, voice of the Kansas State Wildcat.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
He's been the voice of the Tigers for over 20 years, much longer than Wyatt Thompson, Steve Webster, and the legendary Bob Davis. And he's not even that old yet. Here's Gerard Wellbrock.
Indeed, Gerard Wellbrock back on the radio with us here on Sports Day. Gerard, sorry the Royals got in the way. You know, it's
all right. It's okay.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Okay, now I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you first started working with me at KAYS, how old were you?
Oh my goodness. Let me think. Probably, I went to Phillipsburg for 2 years, so probably 23, turning 24. 24, I'm guessing.
Okay, so that is the same age that Aaron Clark is right now. So I've got another young whippersnapper to work here with. So, what would you tell Aaron that things that irritate me?
Oh my goodness, that's a wow. Irritate you.
Left-handed broadcast.
There were days just me walking in the room probably did, I'm sure.
But yeah, maybe that. Some days,
depending on the day, there were certain days.
What about
maybe we should ask what irritated me. Maybe that's the question.
I like that question. So, what as a young broadcast? Because I want to learn. I don't want to make the same mistakes over.
Well, and it's going to be a little different because you're not going on the road with Aaron.
Well,
but I came from Phillipsburg with Tad Phelps.
Okay.
And we ate at some pretty good places. That wasn't your strength. And there are times efficiency and economy are important. But there are other times, it's okay to splurge a little bit. That really didn't irritate me too bad. I can't complain about that.
Okay, all right.
Except one time in Wichita, late night, and I was hungry, and I probably got a little angry. I remember that one. Then it flooded, and I thought I was going to die.
We tried to get you to the restaurant, and there were funnels in the water in the street mains. And
the problem with that trip, had we left an hour earlier, like I suggested, we'd have beat all of that, and that wouldn't have been an issue. But that's another story for another time.
Okay, all right. So
now, the furrowed eyebrow was my favorite, and it was usually after a liberal road trip, and I wasn't quite mentally cohesive from a late night and having an afternoon game. I just like the Steve puts his head on his hand and just continue. I want to see where this is going. I'm not going to dig you out of your hole. I'm going to let you dig it deeper. Those are always fun.
Aaron, have you had the furrowed eyebrow before?
With Gia, it's perfect time because the first time we were talking about me not knowing my way around Kansas was back from a late night. I think it was to Dodge City last winter for basketball, and I was talking about my route to Emporia, and I mentioned something along the way, and you stopped me for a second and just right like you said, just said, "All right, continue." Like you stopped me like you were wanted to interrupt me and just, "All right, continue." And you let me dig my hole, and that was the first glimpse that I'd never know where.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But your directions were a lot better, Gerard. Okay, all right. I'm just wondering. Well, think of some more, and then we'll just. I don't want to make the same mistakes I did. I mean, although I am proud of the finished product.
Well, I appreciate that. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean it was all part of your master plan, and it worked well.
Yes, all that money I saved all over the years I left KYS,
Well, I'm
and you.
making up for it because I don't skimp. I'm making up for it, so I do appreciate that. Actually, now I think about it.
Well, you didn't have to turn in receipts to Janet Hayes. That's your problem.
That is true. That is true.
Janet had much to do with building Bob Schmidt's wealth than anyone else, let me tell you.
There was nothing better than the page, Steve.
Yes. What's this credit card report for anyway, that's okay. So you want to talk some Fort Hays here real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
It's been fun, though.
Okay, so in the meantime, we had the 17-6 win over Northwest Missouri State, and then the traditional loss to Missouri Western. Have you been able to figure that out? I mean, Missouri Western has been good, but it's just one of those teams.
Well, it is, and we were talking about that before the week of the game. We get there, and then the very second offensive play, there's an interception that I went back and watched 3 or 4 times, and how the ball doesn't hit the turf on a low pass when the running back on a wheel route is laying on the ground, but it rolls up to the side of his body, onto the back of his legs, gets intercepted, and right away you're like, here we go. And it was. 5 turnovers. I mean, it is uncanny. It's always against them. And they're good. I think they're really good, actually. But in that game, Fort Hays State, I thought played great. It was the worst offensive game for Missouri Western. They got, 3 touchdowns and drove 42 total yards, and they get another one on a 100-yard interception. Fort Hays, again, other than when they made mistakes, played really well, but those mistakes were catastrophic. But a good bounce back, and Lincoln's not very good. But I thought they played well and crisp in that game, which I think was important. I mean, they weren't good, but Fort Hays State played well, and that's why the score got out of hand. They got to play a lot of young kids, and they played well. So that is a feel-good win. I think now the challenge, consistency. It's been play well, then play bad. Play good, then play bad. They're going to have to play well Saturday if they want to come away with a win.
But it's Missouri Southern.
Well, it's not your old Missouri Southern.
Okay.
When they hired Atiba Bradley, he played for them. He's a Joplin native. It's kind of like when Fort Hays State hired Chris Brown. It's like they got the right guy. Yeah. And you could just see it from day one. They weren't as talented, but you could see a difference, just the way they played. And now they're getting their guys. They brought in some D1 kids through the portal the last couple of years. I mean, they probably should be 4-1, and they probably should have beat UCO. Just couldn't quite get it done. They've been in some close games. They had a chance to beat Northwest in week 1 when Northwest was fully healthy. They're good, and they're huge. I mean, they've got an American Samoan connection because they've got some of those guys up front, and they are, I think we're looking 336. Their left tackle is 330 and 6'5", and he's the smallest O-lineman. I mean, this is going to be a big challenge for Fort Hays State to try to control the line of scrimmage, but this will be a big game, big challenge, no doubt.
Is it been, I mean, because you look at Joplin, I mean, I assume they play pretty good football down there. There's a good population. You have Springfield, you have all those towns. But has it just been a shadow of Pittsburgh State that's been difficult?
I think so. I mean, you got Webb City, one of the best programs in the state right up the road. So, yeah, for whatever reason, and I mean, Pitt State's Pitt State, and they, financially and a lot of those things, they've got some advantages that Missouri Southern doesn't have. And, I think, you compare the two programs, you look at facilities, what are you going to pick? I mean, most kids are going to take Pitt State because, I mean, they do. They've got a great stadium, great everything. And so that becomes a challenge. But it's funny when you start to win a little bit and you're starting to see that. They've got a few more Joplin kids on their roster and kids from that area staying close to home. And I think it just starts with the head coach. You got the right guy who's kind of built the culture back. Because they've won there before. They've won MIAA championships. They've been a competitive team. They were great in the CSIC, and I know the times have changed, but it's been done there before, and they're at a great location. And, sometimes I think Missouri Western fights this with Northwest. You kind of get little brother syndrome maybe. I think Missouri Southern may have that with Pitt State. And at some point, I think you just have to, this is who we are, be us, and let's go get the kids we need and try to get them and go win. I think you're starting to see that a little bit, and they've been really good so far this year.
Well, 3-2 on the year, to say the very least. This is a huge game for the Tigers.
It's one of those, I think, for both programs, it's one of those turning point games. The winner, now you go to 4-2, and you know, if it's Fort Hays State winning, you've won 2 in a row. Now you're starting to build some momentum. Some of these young kids who've been playing backup roles, and a few have had to start because of injuries, are getting more confident, getting a little more experience. And now maybe you got a chance to get on a bit of a run here to close out the year and see where it takes you. The loser, now you're back to 500, and that roller coaster continues. So I think it's a big game for both. Southern was kind of in that same boat last year. Then they hit a little bit of a lull mid-season. Still had a better year for them, but I think they're looking at this the same way. The winner's got a chance to, I think, get on a run and do some really good things this year. And hopefully it's the black and gold and not the green and gold.
Yeah, a quick overview of the MIAA right now as we're approaching the halfway point of the season.
Obviously, Pitt State's really good. Northwest has been beat up. They got Mike Hohensee back, but they have struggled a little bit. They're still good defensively, but they've struggled on offense. Tell you what, it's as crazy this year as any year. Pitt's clearly number one. Northeastern's clearly at the bottom. But I think you could put anybody in between them. Emporia looked human last week, losing at Western, although that's not going to look as a bad loss, I think, at the end of the year. I think, that's still – Emporia, I think, is still number 2. Western has probably moved into that 3 slot. And after that, and you look at the scores, it shows it. I mean, great games, all coming down to the wire. It's as wide open of a year I think I've ever seen. And that's why I think Fort Hays State, if you can just get some consistently and get on a roll, you've got a chance to do some really good things this year.
Well, we talked to Wyatt just a little bit ago and talk about it. The November is coming up soon, so that means you're double duty for. So tell me a quick overview: Tiger men's basketball and the Tiger and the Lady Tigers.
Well, I think Mark Johnson's a little bit excited about this, Tim. He can return a lot and hoping. I mean, Northwest eventually is going to have to take a little bit of a dip. We'll see. They always find a way to be good, but I think he feels if they can stay healthy, he's got a team that's going to have a chance to be right there in the picture this year. And I think so. You return a lot of offense. I don't know if they'll be quite as good defensively as they've been in years past because they've been really good. But I think they'll be still good, but I think they'll be better on the offensive end, which I think will be good and help them out. And the women, of course, it's Talia Carr's first year, but she pretty much inherits the same team they actually does. They have everybody back, plus some good high school signees. I think her problem, challenge is going to be figuring out enough minutes for everybody, and maybe you redshirt a couple of players because they're going to be as deep as I can ever remember, and I think they're going to have a chance to be really, really good. But anytime you have a new coach, it'll have a different feel, and we'll see how she navigates as the head coach now for the first time in her career.
Okay, have that fun trip to Joplin. It's always fun traveling through southeast Kansas.
It always is.
Yeah,
but, there are worse, I guess.
Yeah, they're just put in an interstate down there. So okay.
I see. And the other thing was the yellow line. That was something. I still do that. I still have an atlas, and I maybe take a different route to add a new line to the atlas.
Aaron, we're going to tell you about the yellow line because he's wouldn't you no okay I'm sorry I'm really not doing this to you, Aaron, but this is you mentioned the yellow line. You get at Rand McNally and you put all the roads that you've been on. Okay, so I found out what Aaron Clark did on the way on Panther football games because obviously it wasn't watching where he was because he wanted to know how close Kinsley was to Victoria. So
just a little confusion.
We're working on him, okay? We're working on him.
Well, of course, he's probably young. He's like, what's an atlas?
Yeah.
What's a Rand McNally?
I did not know what a Rand McNally was until I started talking to Webby. I'll be 100% honest, was not.
It is kind of fun to get one and mark your travels down. They're kind of fun to look at every now and then.
I'll have to do that. It does sound like a nice little way to keep track of where you've been and where you're going.
He's a talented young man.
And I learned it all from Webby.
Yep. See, the kid knows where Istanbul is, but he didn't know where Kinsley was. So
that's like the midway point, isn't
it? All right, Gur, thanks. Oh, there we go. The the EAS test, Gur. We'll talk to you later. Okay. All right.
Working.
Okay. Bye.
Sit.
Okay.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like ASTEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows that ASTEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
At NextTech Wireless, it's wireless on your terms. You pick a 36, 24, or 18-month agreement and get a device on us like the iPhone 14 or the new Google Pixel 7. Stuck in a contract with your current provider? Switch now and get up to $1,000 per line. For more details, stop by your nearest NextTech Wireless location today or call or text our customer care team at 877-621-2600. NextTech Wireless, home on the range.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on KVGB. Shelley Duvall's not going to be able to join us on the program today, but that's okay. She'll be back in next week. So you've got a puzzled look on your face.
Well, I wanted to add.
There we go. That was only a test.
It's only a test.
Ah! The bots. the ions in my blood.
Ah! What I was gonna say. One thing to add on to what Gur was saying with the Samoan connection for Missouri Southern, they actually call out audibles on their defensive line in Samoan. At least when I was playing at Emporia State, we would get out there, and if they're trying to shift over or under, if they're going to slant, if they want to move, have last-second shift, they call that out. And what I guess I assumed is Samoan is a language I did not understand, and it was spoken by the Samoan players. And so they communicated. They'd have the sets where it was 3 Samoan-speaking players in the game, and they would have complete, full conversations about what they were doing in Samoan just right across from us. It was pretty cool to see, honestly.
Well, give me an example.
It sounded a lot like indiscriminate yelling, because they were just yelling. A lot of times if you're communicating on the football field, you're yelling, but a lot of times you can hear, go there, go here, and then it was a lot of vowels, a lot of vowel sounds, like hi. Like, I remember no, that's not quite that, but something that there's an apostrophe in. You know how sometimes you get like an H-I or H-A-I apostrophe I? You could tell there were some apostrophes being thrown in there, and it was definitely did its job. It threw us off a little bit and still won the game, but
they're like wind talkers. There's your cultural reference of the day.
If you're coming up, they're pretty good. Wouldn't that be an advantage to bring in an American Samoa wind talker? And then when they're having those conversations down there, you can work on that during the week, and you'll have
They think they're getting away with something.
Yeah,
and you're like,
exactly. And so we kind of talked to him because we got into some garbage time in that game, and we kind of talked to him. They would change the calls because obviously, if you just use the same calls over and over again, people will pick up on it. Right? You'll learn "ahu" means over, and all of a sudden it's not as complicated. And so they would change it up, but it was one of the cooler things I got to see while playing college football. Just getting to see the Samoans use their language to communicate. Still, Emporia State get the victory, but it was neat. And like you said, they've just got an excellent international pathway of getting Samoan players to Missouri Southern. It's really, really neat to see.
And that's an interesting stadium because it's down in a hole. And you had to walk across the street.
You got to walk across the campus. It's one of the longest walks from.
They didn't have locker rooms there?
Not near the field. It's you have to cross the campus. You have to cross a street, like a full. The Emporia State team took 2 tries to get across the street because we're so big. We didn't crosswalk wore out.
Hey, they didn't bring crossing guards.
No, we went out. We hit the button and we're standing there. I'm pretty sure we were in our all whites the time we got to go down there. So you're sitting there
pushing the button.
Yeah, we're sitting there waiting for. I don't know Kansas towns. I definitely don't know the street there. But waiting across the street, Missouri Southern students looking at us from their cars, tempted to hit the Emporia State football team. The only thing, if you hit me, I would have dented your car more than you dented me.
So,
it's if you've made the walk from Liberal High School to their field, it's at least twice as long as that. If anyone who played at
Where
Great
did you
Bend
go
High,
at halftime?
We had a little tent set up at the end of one end zone, and so we had benches in there. It was like a wedding at halftime. You go into a big white tent. There's a bunch of folding chairs set up. The vibe's a lot more angry, but it was a fun experience.
Okay, I gotta go down.
Did they have porta potties?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what they did. They had porta potties outside the tent. If you had to get taped up, the trainers had added like the good benches in there. But apart from that, it was just folding chairs that. If you're a heavy fellow, it was kind of rainy, and so the seat or the feet are sinking into the grass and into the mud. So, yeah, anyone who sat on wet mud as a heavier fella, you'll know you start sinking into that dirt. That'll humble you real quick. Got to pull out the chair when you're standing up.
I'd let them do it.
Well, you got to be courteous, though. You know, you don't want to. If it was their football team who was having to pull the chairs up, maybe I would have. But it's just the lovely grounds folks at Missouri Southern. You got to stay on their good side.
That's just like Mike Corson. His story this morning, I mean, just his days of cleaning up the Coliseum after basketball games. And even to this day, Mike, you see popcorn box on, you're picking it up, right?
I don't do that, but I do empty my cups. Tuck your straws in, empty your cups. Don't dump the cup in the bag and then perforate it with your straw. That gets all over somebody.
Okay, we need to take a break here. Jiminy Christmas. Time flies when the topic's interesting, right?
Get the power you need for your farm equipment. The power of peace of mind that dependable Cenex lubricants deliver. With decades of proven off-road performance, backed by the industry-leading Cenex Total Protection Plan warranty. Cenex heavy-duty diesel engine oils, hydraulic fluids, gear lubricants, and greases are formulated to provide superior protection for load-bearing equipment. The power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
Barton Community College helped me get a jump start on college with early college opportunities. With Barton's help, I earned my degree at the same time I graduated from high school. You can take classes on campus, online, and even at your high school with teachers you already know. With tuition rates starting at $50 per credit hour for select Kansas high school audiences and scholarship opportunities, it is easier than ever. Barton Community College helped me get one step closer to my dream, and it can help you too. Learn more at highschool.bartoncccc.edu.
That's kind of an interesting mix there.
An intro and an outro at the same time?
Yeah, when Shelley showed up, that's a good story on Missouri Southern. I mean, it was really good for you because we were going to play.
Oh, I knew exactly what I was doing. Don't think I didn't.
We were going to play more Kansas town history.
We didn't have to play geography map challenge this time around. We can save that for a later show.
The Ringnecks, wonder where they're from.
Hill City.
Yeah, man, up by Hoxie.
Hi, my favorite, the Heston Swathers.
Where are they at?
In Heston.
You know where Heston's at?
East.
Down by Mound Ridge in Wichita.
I was a little right. It's to the east then.
You know where Dorrance is?
No, I do not know where
Okay,
Dorrance
all right.
is.
That's it. Send us your Rand McNally's to 12th and Baker, Great Bend, Kansas. Have a great day.